Who's going to read us an intention?
I've got one on 317 of Gems of Wisdom. I didn't look at it, but it just came. That's the best way for me to pick, is not being involved in it. A person alone will still want to eat, drink, sleep, and so on, even when there are no other people around him. However, if there are people around him, there is the matter of shame where others compel him. Then he must eat and drink what people around him compel him to. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Thank you, Adam. So, questions? Anything you guys want to discuss?
I just would like to mention that it seems like the intensity of our virtual world has gone up 100% between 3 weeks ago and today. I mean, it's on fire. It's amazing.
In what way?
Everybody's connecting and participating and overcoming obstacles or unfamiliar territory or shyness. They're all adding to getting over their fear of not being right. And it's amazing to watch. It still takes increased annulment because everybody's participating now. It's wonderful. I don't have a question, though.
I have a question. What is annulment? Let's do that in workshop. What is annulment? No need to go in any certain order. Whoever feels like they're already ready to answer, go ahead and we'll add on.
I would say annulment is overcoming your ego and not seeing yourself as better as others, which is very hard.
Knowing how to accept what is happening in the moment without having to change it.
That's a good point, Adam. Not only not knowing that you don't have to change it, but you can't change it.
Putting the other person first before yourself.
Not reacting to things that happen to us in our environment.
Thinking of only what the other person might want to hear. Might want to hear what the other person want to hear what you had to say.
Maybe letting yourself become absorbed into the group and not seeing yourself as so much as an individual.
We not only annul ourselves to our friends, but we also annul ourselves to the Creator. And that might be a whole nother question.
Trying to see the greatness of the friends and always learn from them and be inspired by them. And instead of thinking that I know better than others, basically not listening to that voice internally.
So now practically, we have a decision to make, okay? We're standing around. We have some kind of something in our agenda, something we need to accomplish between us, right? We want to decide, let's choose something that's relevant to us. we want to choose the topic of our lesson, okay? Or we want to choose what order we talk when we speak. We want to choose the day of the week that we meet and what we should concentrate. Should we do social writings, or should we study tests, or should we study I don't know, Bala Sulam versus Rabash, or should we do workshop mode or questions and answers, right? I mean, these are things that obviously you can see that there are, if we asked it an open question here, we might have different opinions on that, right? It's like Gary wants it to be all tests, and Michael wants it to be, no, let's just tell jokes to each other. And Robert wants it to be, let's only talk about the first 20 articles and never the second 20. I don't know. I mean, you get it. Everyone has an opinion, and it's a strong opinion, right? It's not, it's thought out. It's not like some opinion that, I'm going to be difficult. I'm going to make an opinion, and I don't care. I'm going to stand on it. No, obviously, we're talking about annulment here. How do we go by having a conversation or a workshop or a discussion where at the end, somehow we annul and we have different opinions? How do we do that? Go ahead.
We can't just agree with everybody or nothing will be accomplished. But once a person becomes defensive, then they're no longer annulling, and that's their ego. So you have to be aware of when you reach that point.
What was that word? Once a person becomes what?
Defensive. Even if you're just feeling it internally and not even voicing it.
So yeah, I've noticed it's two different things that we're doing. When we're workshopping a question, it's easy to annul. But when we're trying to get a practical thing done, like Zohar just gave the question about the example, that's harder. Because how do we get it done if there's certain people that have specialties and strengths? And we want their skills. Or maybe that might even be us. That's a hard one. I don't know if I can answer it correctly because I'm the biggest, everywhere I go, I'm just like bossy. So
maybe it has to do with compromise to each other, where we accept the fact that somebody else has other ideas and we're willing to work their ideas into our own, and they're willing to do the same thing for us. Compromise.
And I think it also has to do with our intentions and our desire for the group and for annulment. So, if we're able to leave our ego aside, we're more likely to be able to find an agreement sooner rather than later.
I think we have to be committed to finding the agreement. Oftentimes, people will people please, or they'll yeah, I like the thing on agreement. They'll give in because that's, they think that's annulment. But I think in my experience in the groups that it requires commitment of everybody to the goal.
We can also be in faith above reason and none else besides him. It all comes from him, right? So even if we don't agree with what is being said, it still comes from him. And we have to, maybe rise above it and find faith above reason in that and see that it is coming from us instead of the other person.
I think Rick had a good video that he posted on the WhatsApp about Rav talking about the only thing that's needed, and he was saying that that we should try to act like we're a mother, and that all the friends are babies, and that you're taking care. And if you're an egoistic mother, how would the baby suffer? So I guess that would mean that you'd have to be like a nurse in a hospital taking care of everybody's babies or something like that. I don't know.
We just had a project because this was our 10's week to do Unity Sunday and all kinds of lesson duties and the C4G daily call for the whole week. So we had a lot of these times when we had to meet and work out things. And we're getting better at it. But I think it had a lot to do with what Michael said about being in faith above reason. We constantly increase our faith above reason in order to arise above and to annul in the face of circumstances that get more and more complicated as we do more and more things together.
How do you settle the conflict between having a strong opinion and annulling? And don't get me wrong, I don't mean a strong opinion that you're just a hard-headed person. Maybe a very valid, strong opinion. You think maybe we go into arguments sometimes and there's more than one opinion and they're both very valid, very strong opinions? Possibly. How do you annul at the end of that? We're supposed to be as one man and one heart, nullified. What are we nullifying? How can we nullify if we have a strong opinion? And how can we even not rob the society if we don't share our strong opinion? What do we do?
Share without expectation.
We're given at the moment an idea, and we insert that into the conversation. But if it's my idea, then I have if it's my idea, I have a stake in it. Then it's my ego. But if I'm putting out an opinion because of the circumstances, the surroundings, that is, led me to speak up, to say, oh, well, here's a point of view. I put it out there. It's not mine. It's the group's opinion at that point. And at that point, I let go of it. I've said what I observed. I said what I saw, and then the group absorbs it. And if it comes out that, yeah, it's valid, but that's only my perception. I'm given what I see at that given time, and so I let go of it. And then it's the group's opinion. So I don't have a dog in a fight, so to speak, but because it's not my ego, it's the environments now.
I think it's easy, relatively easy logically to say, well, I should do this, I should do that. That's all going to work out. That's nice and smooth. I'll be this way, I'll be that way. And unfortunately, we have our human emotions and our ego that is constantly pushing us. It's a real problem. I try to tell myself when I'm listening, don't criticize, don't condemn anybody, don't even evaluate what they're saying, because if I'm evaluating, I'm always saying, is this good or is it bad? But rather try to use a scrutiny or analysis. What are they saying, and what point are they making, what point are they making? Actually becoming more of a less emotional and trying to find some point where I can connect above the differences that exist. It's a very difficult thing to do. But if your intention is one to bring people together and to form a unity, if that's your intention, that's your aim, that's your goal, it'll help to put you on the right path, to be more tolerant, to listen, and try to find points where you can agree above where you don't agree.
It's important for us not to make judgments. And when we're dealing with our 10, to me, it's so much easier because you give your opinion, and we're all trying to annul to each other, but leave the 10 and in the corporeal world. And that's where it's so much more difficult. And it's just like if you ever talk politics with somebody who is on the opposite side, you talk about your ego getting involved then. It's very hard to annul. It's almost like very good practice. But I think realizing that everything is our opinion, our perception of just our environment, how we were raised, and to try not to make judgments. And then once again, just being aware of, are you becoming, as I said before, defensive or emotional about it? Because if you are, then your ego is involved and you're not annulling.
I think it's easier to come to an agreement, even though you're dealing with strong opinions, if you've done the footwork ahead of time with your group, where your group is feeling connected and they are feeling close to each other. It's a lot easier at that point to arrive at a consensus.
I just came to a thought listening to this. It's even harder because when I say something and I'm talking to 5 different people, those 5 different people can take 5 different meanings from what I said. So how do you blend that? I mean, just from what I say, I can understand what I'm saying and I have a certain meaning to it, but the 5 or 9 people that I'm talking to, each could have different perspectives on what I said.
What am I supposed to be doing? Well, let me ask this first. When I come into a conversation and I have a strong opinion and I intend to make sure everyone hears my opinion and adheres to it almost, right? Can I enter a round discussion? Can I enter a workshop with that?
Ask that again. I don't quite understand it.
We're trying to decide something. I came, I did my homework, I did everything. I'm an expert on this. I know everything that there is to be known about this. I know others think so about themselves too, but I am very certain that I am right about this. And I come into this conversation and I'm not taking any prisoners. I'm giving my opinion and they should value it because heck, I know what I'm talking about. Can I enter a workshop with them?
I don't want to say no, but it seems like it goes against the workshop rules. I mean, aren't we supposed to stick to a specific technique? And that technique is that everybody's right and we're less than everybody else and, stuff like that. So I think if you come into with an attitude of pig-headedness, that is probably counterproductive. I don't know.
I was thinking about it when the questions were going around, that I have to check myself and say, is this coming from a desire to bestow? Is it coming from a desire to help the group only? Is that the only place it's coming from? Or have I invested in it with my ego?
And I think kind of also to check if I invested with my ego is to see how attached I am to the outcome. If I'm putting that strong opinion into the center, but I don't want to control the outcome, how it's going to affect the friends and what they decide, then I'm not trying to annul. But if I want the friends to actually be a certain way as a consequence of my opinion, then that's very egoistic.
I think too, if you express your strong opinion and you're the expert, and you can see that the group is leaning towards something different than what you would desire, I think you can say that's the creator and leave it in his hands. Let him deal with it.
I don't know if I'm right about this, but I thought I noticed a few times watching the group in Israel there when they do their workshops that after the Rav asked the question, there's always the first guy that has to start it out, and then they follow him, and then even though it sounds like at a time for a time that they're adding to each other, there'll come a point when it seems like it breaks and somebody starts something new. So I'm not sure if that's if there's anything wrong with opinions, because they're all each person's perception of what they think what it's about. And they're just taking some idea from the previous person and then they're adding what they have. It's all a bunch of opinions that are mashed up together, and then it breaks and I've noticed that a few times. I don't know if I'm right about that or not, but that's how I've seen it.
I
What is
understand.
better?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What is better, to make the wrong decision together or make the right decision alone?
Yeah, together.
I guess we don't need to do a round on that, right? Or maybe Gary wanted to say something. Yes.
No, I just wanted to say that I've heard over and over and over, it's not even about the question, it's about the connection. It's all about the connection. So the answer is yes. It's the connection. Even being the wrong, quote, opinion, it's not about that. It's about working together and forming this connection.
I'm an expert. I know everything there is to know about something. I know better than everyone. And I'm really, really knowledgeable about this. I mean, I'm not just saying this because, I'm an egoist and I'm I've got pride or I've got this and that. I really know something. I read every book there's to be read about it. I've had experience. I have knowledge. I've been through this. I've risen and fallen on this and all that. And I'm coming to the group with my opinion from that point of view, not from the point of view of, hey, I just thought about it 2 seconds ago and I'm giving my opinion. It's a strong opinion. It's valid. And I come to the group and I am about to present my opinion. In fact, I present it strongly and opinionated and give my whole case to the group. It's as if they didn't even hear me. They all think another way. I even know that they're wrong. I know that the decision they're about to make is absolutely wrong. What should my attitude be here? Not just at the end of the discussion. Because I was, like Robert said, I was, not only that, they knew I was the expert, so they let me speak first to set the tone and everything, right? I put it out there. I gave my strong opinion. I gave it to them. There's no question that now that they heard the truth from the mouth of the expert, they should all just follow in my footsteps. Right after me, Roberto comes. I think he's wrong. He said black. I think it should be white. And then Linda goes and says white. Robert goes white. Michael goes white. Gary goes white. And I'm the expert on this. Everyone is against me in this. What should my attitude be while they're saying it, completely negating my opinion? And secondly, what should our opinion as a group be at the end?
First, I'd like to clarify something about the observation of the groups. I have to clarify that I've never felt that anyone in the group was opinionated, that they were really strong and they were trying to shove it down everybody's throat. I never got a sense from those guys like that. And if there was a situation in a group where there was someone like that, you can't really fault them. Maybe they're new and they don't know. They haven't gotten used to how things are, and they haven't been counseled on how it goes, and they'll learn as it goes along, or maybe they'll never learn. But I think that would be incorrect. That if someone or myself came to the group, and just because I read a book and everything, and I studied up on it, and I think that I'm the expert, that is because I'm seeing fault in the friends, because I'm seeing them as less than I am. That's why I think I'm an expert. So the fault is in me, it's not in them. How do I know how much they know and how much they've studied? Maybe they know it from their heart, and all I know it is from something that I memorized. And then it gives me pride because I can say the exact words that I read, but it's also true that it could be the person does have an attainment and they're trying to bestow to the group, and they're trying to let people understand what they understood from it, and that's all they're trying to do. Their intention was to bestow.
Katya was asking for a clarification on the example that you gave, Zohar.
Thank you. I saw that, and I'm getting there, but continue on this line first. Thank you, Katya. You're ahead of me.
Okay, well, I would try to find out, that person is going to cause acheshena. Are we going to hasten time by following their advice? Or are we going to pick our nose and not even hear the topic because we just can't even focus? I'm sorry, but there are parts of me that show up that don't even know what time it is.
Maybe for the person who is the expert, who knows that he's right, and he makes his statement or his plea to the group, and it turns out the whole group doesn't agree with it. Maybe that person who started it, who knows that he's right, can come to an understanding that from what he said came all these other ideas from what the rest of the group said. So he doesn't have to look at it as a negative thing that nobody's agreeing with him. He can look at it as, oh, well, this guy came up with this idea from what I said, and this is something I never thought about before.
I think we should all realize that the work is not in being an expert, is not in providing opinions. The work is in working on annulment. And if we have that very clearly when we're contributing and building that connection with a group, then it all falls into place.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you want to know if there's a particular issue involved. Who are we going to do it by follow alphabetical order? We're not going to follow alphabetical order. We're going to do it this way or that way. At the end of the day, something has to be resolved, because otherwise we'll be going through, what was that movie, Groundhog Day? You'll be just repeating it over and over and over and over. Well, I think we should do at some point, something has to be done. You've got to reach some kind of decision and consensus. I agree 100% on what was said. I think Tom said that, I have an opinion, I throw it out there, it causes all kinds of conversation, different thoughts, people disputing, but it allows a fresh connection. It allows me to actually annul. Because if I'm really into this work, I'm going to say, well, wait a minute, maybe let me listen to what they have to say. So it serves a purpose. I just don't know, the question is it factory work? We have to have a certain parameters of how to do certain things if that's what's being, if that's the issue. So it is a bit of a problem.
I've been studying Kabbalah for a little over 2 years, 2.5 years. And when I first started, I went to a Congress. I was beginner, very much a beginner. And I can remember us, it was a workshop question about free will. And I remember giving my opinion of it. And nobody said anything, but I could look at their eyes and tell that what I said was incorrect according to the Kabbalah teachings. But nobody said I was wrong. They just sort of smiled, but I could just read it. So they definitely annulled to me that day. But, and I don't know, this might be a little bit off topic, but the one thing that I've always sort of had a problem with on when we do workshop is sometimes I feel like we just regurgitate what has been told to us and maybe not really know it or feel it or believe it, but we just say what's been said instead of really giving an opinion. And sometimes I wish we could do more of giving our true opinion of something based on the Kabbalah teachings.
See, Rick's so slow with that mute button, he brought Tracy in, because now she knows how to do it quick. You beat him to the mute button every time.
Who does?
Rick and Tracy.
Yeah, I get paid for my opinion. That's what I do for a living. And sometimes my opinion isn't necessary, being right isn't necessary. Sometimes it's, like one guy, attorney, slammed his fist down and said, "Rick, the hell with principle." We didn't need it at that time. It wasn't valid at this juncture and at this point. So, looking at it saying, all right, then let's proceed from this point because my opinion isn't, I might be on a left line and you're on a right line, and we're going to find somewhere in the middle. We're going to bounce in between. All right, Tracy.
I missed the question.
Okay. It's about being right, and you have an opinion, and you're going to be right, and everybody's going to hear it. Is that necessary, or is that?
I agree with Linda.
All right, she's going to get more involved here now. She got up on the tractor with me.
Thanks, Tracy.
All right. Isn't that good when someone agrees with you? It's like, more power to me. Okay, so is there... if we have a group discussion, call it a workshop, a circle discussion, however you want that, if I do have a strong opinion, am I supposed to hold it back or am I supposed to give it to them? In fact, what if several of us have strong opinions? Should we give it to the group?
I will say yes. If nothing else, it gives us the opportunity to annul, which I think is what we're supposed to be doing.
I have something that I think it was the last week or the week before, they were reading the Zohar or something on the lesson there, and they were talking about they were reading all these different excerpts, and one of them was that talking about being above reason, that that a person that has to create this space where they don't use their reason, that basically they're saying that I don't know what that word means. So I'm asking the Creator to give the group the wisdom of what that means. So there's something that when everybody says they know what nullification is, and Baal Salam says that, and all the Kabbalists said that we don't name it unless we attained it. So if there's somebody that comes in the group that has an opinion, maybe he's not nullifying, maybe. And then all of the ones that all disagreed with him and said no when he said yes, they all faulted him because they wanted to disagree with him. But because they said that he wasn't nullifying. So in the end, the group was supposed to, the intention was to love each other, to blend each other in and to take each other in. And if they're all pushing this one guy out and says he's not nullifying, maybe it's them who didn't attain what nullification is. They think they know what it means.
If I have a strong opinion and it's stern and it's important to me to share this with the friends, and I feel like if they take this opinion, it'll actually benefit them, it's good for them and all that, is holding back nullifying?
I don't. It doesn't seem so, because if you have a strong opinion and you're in the group, not just with normal people, but you're in the group and everybody's following the rules, then you don't have to feel uncomfortable giving a strong opinion, because you know that everybody's supposed to agree with it and build on it, or build on whatever. I don't know. This is a hard question, Zohar.
Well, and sometimes they ask for a consensus. So if we're not honest about actually, telling everybody's opinion on this question that they're asking for a consensus, and do it without the emotion packed behind it, whether somebody's answer is right or wrong, or halfway right or halfway wrong. Just give the answers and then leave it to melt into the group together. Let everybody think about it. And sometimes a beautiful thing happens in these groups where the compromise that becomes a higher solution just appears because we've all let go of the outcome.
So how do I make it? Tom, Adam was saying, I remembered something Tom said and I forgot the word now. Yes, it's a difficult question because of course it's like sometimes we mistake being nice or being pleasant or saying it in a certain way, it's like we're discussing the clothing and not what's inside of it, and we think that but because I have a strong opinion, that's not nullification. Nullification sounds more like, oh, whatever you guys want, that's okay. That's, it's like I have no opinion, that's nullification, but I have some kind of opinion. And I think we even had this discussion before, and it's interesting that we have to keep going over this thing because it's not a simple thing. If I have an opinion, I need to bring it to the group. And the next person who talks, what do? I came in and I gave my strong opinion, my expert opinion. What happens when the next person opens his mouth? What is my job now? What do I look at him now? Yeah, here. That means the next person who's talking, now he's the expert. And the next person, he's the expert. That's how you work in a workshop. Whether it is right or wrong, doesn't matter. Nullification. Because that's really what matters. And you all agree that the outcome should be let go of. Once you gave your opinion, everyone listened to you as the expert. Now the next person who's talking is the expert. If you don't listen to the next person as being the expert, but you're holding on to the opinion that you came into the workshop in, it's not a workshop. It's not a round discussion. You did not nullify before each other, because guess what? If everyone didn't nullify before everyone, there's no Kli here. You're not going to see that beautiful birth of a new idea that's above reason, above everyone, and all that showing up. Only if we actually all mutually practiced it. That's how we create it. And now I'm going to add, we have to leave here in a couple of minutes because the young group's taking the same account and we're going to be that beep meant that Albert's trying to get on. What if the workshop question is something spiritual, or the workshop question is something logistical in the group? Does it make a difference to everything we talked about?
I would say no.
If you're dealing with Kabbalah, everything's spiritual.
What do you mean logistical to the group?
Let's not sugarcoat it. We want to know how we should run a workshop, right? Should we do it alphabetical? Should we do it by calling out names? Should we do it by, I don't know, age? Should we do it by whoever is showing up highest on the list and whoever's on there? Should we do it by opening microphones, whoever opens it when they're ready? Should we do it by, we could probably think of a few other ways, right? By birthday, I don't know, you name it, right? Should we have a moderator who just calls out the names, and that way we resolve that? These are simple logistical questions. This is not a, what is the connection between our annulment and our spiritual advancement? Here you could start going, deep, right? This is something we could have strong opinions and be very right and very opinionated about them and all that. How do we do that? We could do other things. Should we be meeting every day or should we be meeting once a week? Rav said many times, you should be in physical groups. That's if you want to be in spiritual advancement. He also said many times, you could be connected virtually and advance spiritually. He said both those things. Can't we have a discussion about it? When was he right? What is he, like, right sometimes and right sometimes? We could have a workshop question about that. Obviously we would have opinions. Does it matter if it's a spiritual question or it's a question about our day-to-day in the 10?
I think the simple stuff, like the logistical stuff, if it's going to be a reoccurring thing, it should have been like already put out in some instruction so everybody knows how it's going to be. That way you don't have to keep going over it and over it and over it again. All you got to do is attach it with the email every time, and if you don't know, you can read it. And spiritual things should be what you're focusing on in the group, and as far as the strong opinions and the people on the other side looking at the person as not annulling, it's all a nullification of self-love on both sides. It's a learning thing.
No, I get the point. Go ahead.
I think it would be the same for both, because otherwise you're going to end up with the strongest person being the leader of the group, and there shouldn't be a leader of the group. So everybody felt their opinion change, whether we meet every day or every other day or every week. You just have to get everybody's opinion. Everybody has to put a thought and think of it spiritually, even though it's a corporeal matter, but it has to be done the same way. That's what I think.
I was thinking of when we got early to the Congress and had to set up the Congress, and Zohar took charge. And let me tell you, when Zohar takes charge, he don't take any answers other than because he sees the goal, what has to happen. And when they say, oh, we can't have that room till 2:00, Zohar says, that's not going to happen. There's certain things that has to happen in order to have this thing to have a good foundation. And if that's compromised, then the whole group is compromised. So there are certain times when you're going to have to be firm about it. And then once the foundation is laid and we can begin the process, then we'll let then that's the time to be. My opinion isn't the chief of importance right here. It's the end goal. But getting that foundation sometimes takes someone who's uncompromising.
Let's just summarize it here, because we do have to leave in a couple of minutes here. When it comes to anything that has to do with the group, keeping my opinion from the group is like robbing the group. I have an opinion, I should bring it to the group. Should I be tactful and know when to put it and when not? Of course. When we're doing a workshop, the workshop rules rule. That's it. I mean, it's like we are all one. We're connected. The goal of the workshop is to connect, is to annul, is to do the things that we do spiritually between us. And even if the topic of the workshop is to come up with a solution of something or a decision on something, we do the thing, we put each our best into it. Guess what? Even if we're discussing Bina and Malchut, we should still put our best into it. Trying to water down my question because I think that's a way to annul myself, that is robbing the group. Does that mean I should answer the whole question myself? No. Does that mean I should try to strong-arm people? No. We know all the answers when it comes to a workshop. There's the transition that we're missing. And what's the transition is, how do you make decisions? How do you not have Groundhog Day repeat itself day after day after day after day? If you're trying to come up with a decision, for decision making, you need to have a mechanism. You have to have a leader or a manager or someone who puts the thing, or a committee or something. Why? Because the best you can do in a workshop is discuss it and have the group opinion come out and have that collective information and go about. Then you need to decide in advance, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to, Rick brought up the Congress. Well, in Congress, it's not that I just took charge, it's my job. I was assigned to be the manager, so I have to be the manager. It's like, but did we do things in round manner? Absolutely. We did a workshop on it. We discussed that. And guess what? Because this is a project where there is a manager to it, he took all that into account and made the decision. What happens the moment later? He made the decision, and it wasn't my opinion which I brought into the circle. I annul myself fully to it. And not only annul myself and walk around thinking, oh my God, they didn't take my opinion. That manager's an idiot. I can't believe he took the wrong decision. No, at that point, not only do I stand behind that decision, I say it's the right decision. I actually have to go above reason on that too. Now I have a completely different layer of annulment here. See, it's a very complex thing. But having an opportunity to annul, which is one of the most hardest things to do in this world, you know that. I mean, anyone who has an opinion in this world or has a pulse in this world knows that annulment is not an easy thing to do. The beauty of it is that we're annulling before something higher. We have a high goal. We know that, the process of annulling towards each other and working towards love of friends and working towards annulling before the center of the group and doing all that is much more important than me being right. Much more important. That's where advancement occurs. And not only that, if there's a huge gap between that strong opinion that I had and the opinion that the group made, talk about spiritual work there. Now I have something really to, some meat and potatoes to work with here. It's not just, we came, we all sang a song that we all love. It was really cool. We annulled, we were together. What work did we do? But I come, Linda says something, and it's an opinion, and it's strong. And I say something, and it's an opinion, and it's strong. And the group decides to go with Linda's opinion. I have to now live with someone else's opinion, which is so different than mine. And I do that, but the group decided. Thank God there's a group that I annul before. Because now, not that I don't have that resistance, not that it's not difficult, not that it's not I still have this charge in me that I have to work with, but I have something to work with. But what is my work now? Not to try to sabotage Linda's opinion, or to try to sabotage the group's thing, or to still stand and say, I'm going to convince you guys that you made a wrong decision. Go with the group 100%, heads on. They decided to go to war. I hate war, but they decided I'm going to war. Obviously, we're not going to war with guns and grenades. We're going to war with our ego. And so that's the beauty of it. And that's a great, great exercise for us and a great way for us to advance. You guys truly blew me away today. I'm going to cut this out at this point because we have to make room for the new young group that's coming in. And as everyone knows, the night lesson starts a little later, so make sure you make it to the lesson. Those of you who are moderating the young group, good luck over there, and support Albert.
Bye, friends.
Oh, look how your friends show you